Yo, what's poppin' everybody? Wolf94, bringing you guys Pokemon sets from past formats. It's been quite a while, I know, since I made one of these classic set reviews, but the release of Team Up kinda took priority. That kind of content is always more urgent to cover. But today we're finally gonna look at the 12 set of the EX series. This one is very nostalgic for me for sure. A lot of pretty cards, a lot of my favorite cards are in this set. Great artwork, a lot of cool trainers too as well. And it is, of course, Legend Maker. So this set is one of the smallest sets like of all time. It's definitely the smallest set from the EX series, and it's even smaller than Undaunted, which is another very small set. Has one card less than that set. Excluding, Neo Discovery and I think Neo Revelation, this might be like one of the smallest main series Pokemon sets for sure. But it has a lot of cool cards. Uh, it doesn't bring much in the way of trainers. Has a lot of cool stadiums in here, many stadiums, but actually only one like supporter and no other like regular trainers. You got the fossils right here, but that's about it. It does have the react energy. This set introduced a bunch of cool mechanics with the react energy, react Pokemon, Pokemon using the react energy for effects. Very cool set, nostalgic set, like I mentioned. I have a few specific memories with this set, me and my brother. But anyways, that's for a different topic for a different day. Not a lot of EXs in this set since it's quite small. So we're going to cover everything, cover a lot of the rare hollows. So I guess I should start with the box topper since I'm right here at the bottom. You only have this Pikachu Delta species here, this metal Pikachu here. And this is kind of like the secret rare back then. You open a booster box of this, you find this card kind of loose at the top. That's why it's called box topper. It's got 40 HP, quite low. Metal Pokemon, it's Delta species. You can do Thunder Wave, Paralysis Attack, and Iron Tail. Just you flip a coin until you get tails, and you do 20 times the heads. So I guess Iron Tail, if you get a bunch of heads, you can do a lot of damage. But clearly, this Pokemon is just a good collectible card. Alright, so let's look at the X's here. Now, even though this set is quite small and it doesn't have many X's, it does have quite a few significant ones. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 EXs here. So that's not so bad. And we have a few cards that were top Pokemon. So let's start with Arcanine EX, go by order. So this card is very pretty, very nice. Arcanine EX. This actually reminds me, I had the chance to buy one of these, like a Legend Maker case. I remember an eBay seller kind of had a deal on that, and I was negotiating with him, but it didn't work out. He wasn't in a hurry to sell them. That's what he said. But yeah, getting like a Legend Maker booster box for, let's say, 500 pounds or something was a gold mine back in the day, back a couple of years ago. Now it will probably go for a couple of thousands if you can even find it. Anyways, so Arcanine EX, 120 HP EX Pokemon, pretty solid for back then, stage 1. Retreat is at 2, not the greatest, but it's okay I suppose. And it has Fire Remedy Pokebody. Whenever you attach a Fire Energy from your hand to Arcanine, remove 1 damage counter on all special conditions from Arcanine. So this can be pretty handy. The damage counter healing is good, but being sort of immune to special conditions is also very nice. Let's say you get paralyzed or whatever, asleep, and you attach Fire Energy maybe to build up your big attack or whatever. You can get rid of that. You don't need to switch. So that can be handy. And it can do Overrun, its small attack. It's going to do 30, and then 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So 50 damage total for 2 energy. It's not actually that bad, if I say so myself. For an early attack, you do 50 damage total, 30 and 20 on the bench, not bad. And then Flame Swirl, yeah. You do 100 damage, and then you discard 2 Fire Energy or 1 React Energy attached to Arcanine EX. So this is the React Energy stuff I was mentioning about. This special energy that gets introduced here, the React Energy. Let's actually go look at it. It's just a colorless energy that doesn't really have any specific effect. React energy provides colorless energy. It's just that it has this name, React energy. And a bunch of Pokemon in here will get a few benefits or advantages if they have this energy on. Like for example, this Arcanine EX, as opposed to discarding two fire energies, you can just discard one React energy to meet the cost. And that's actually pretty good, discarding only one energy as opposed to two. It really goes a long way. 100 for 3 is actually very, very good for back then. Obviously, you can combine this Pokemon with the Blaziken sort of Fire Starter brothers. You have the ones from Ruby, and then later on get reprinted in EX Power Keepers as well. So you can do that combo. Obviously, there's a bunch of other Pokemon that maybe you can combine this with. I mean, just having a bunch of React energies around, it's actually pretty okay. You just discard one, then you attach one more. You don't build up your other Pokemon, but it's a powerful attack. It's gonna get knockouts on significant Pokemon when you do 100. So very good. Arcanine EX. It wasn't really a competitive Pokemon, but it's a nice little EX Pokemon. Next up, we have Armaldo EX. I really like this card. I wish I had it, but still didn't get the chance to buy it. And this card also works with React Energies with dual armor as long as Armaldo EX has any React Energies attached to it. Armaldo EX is both grass and fighting type. So this is pretty good. It means that you become a grass type Pokemon as well and can hit grass weak Pokemon for weakness. So very nice. Having good coverage like that around is good. Being able to hit a bunch of things for weakness is always nice. It means you can get one shots easy. Its stats aren't really, they're not bad, but they're not great either, considering it's a fossil. Fossil Pokemon are always a pain to get out, no matter what. 160 HP, okay. Retreat at 3 is kind of big, only has one weakness at the very least. And you got two attacks. Spiral Drain, you do 40 damage for 2, and then you remove 2 damage counters from Armaldo. It's not bad. I mean, I guess it's like 60 damage total between the damage you're dealing and the damage you're healing to yourself. So, not so bad, I guess. There wasn't stuff like strong energies back then to boost the damage, but 40 for 2, it's still okay, I guess. Heal 20. And then Vortex Chop, its big attack. If the defending Pokemon has any resistance, this attack's base damage is 100 as opposed to 70. So essentially what this means is that any Pokemon that has resistance, like fighting resistance or whatever, then you basically ignore it. You do 100 and that's it. Normally old Pokemon had, if they had a resistance, it would be minus 30. So I don't see how you can like do more damage with this other than just negate the resistance. Unless you had a Pokemon with an effect that ignored resistances anyway. So maybe that way you can do like 100 for 3. It's okay, it's not the greatest in the world. I certainly like the artwork on this Armaldo EX better than the other ones, but it's once again a good collectible Pokemon, but wasn't the greatest in that era. There's even better fossils out there, actually, even in the fossil department. Okay, now we get into some more competitive stuff here. The Benetti EX here, or Bayonet EX, as most people like to pronounce it. So this little artwork might be a little bit familiar to you guys because Benetti GX is actually based around this Pokemon, both from the power, the attack, and the artwork. Unfortunately, Benetti GX isn't as good as this Benetti EX original was. This Pokemon is actually very competitive. You can build a fast, sort of cheap deck focusing around this guy as an attacker, as opposed to most decks in the EX era focusing on setting up. You have a few options for fast, speedy attackers, and this Pokemon is one of them. 90 HP, has 1 retreat, good fighting resistance, and the darkness weakness. There is Shuppet that has an ability that's kind of like Ascension. You can get your stage 1 out quickly that way and evolve kind of like Trevenant. So this is where this deck gets its sort of speed. And with Shady Move, the Poke Power, once during your turn, if Benetti EX is your active Pokemon, you may move one damage counter from either pair's Pokemon to another Pokemon, both yours or your opponent. And of course, it can't be used if you are affected by special condition, but it's basically the same ability as Benetti GX. You can move one damage counter every turn, essentially getting rid of one from your guys, putting it to your opponent, or if you want to do some fancy combos, you can just put a damage counter on your Pokemon with rage attacks or whatever. I don't know. But it's good. It's definitely a very good power. When you've got Benetti EX active, you put the pressure. Uh, it's essentially one free damage counter on your opponent every turn, and then you heal one, so it's nice. And then Shadow Chant, for 2 psychic energies, you do 30 damage, and then 10 more damage for each supporter card in your discard pile. You can't add more than 60 damage. So essentially you can do 90 for 2, max damage output. It's kind of good. It's probably better than the maximum damage output Benetti GX can do for 2 attacks, which I think is 130. Now, there's probably a lot of good ways to dump supporters back then. Jason Klasinski has a deck with this focusing on this Pokemon in that era, so you can see his method of making Shadow Chant work nicely. But I know this is definitely a very good Pokemon. I mean, just by having a couple of supporters doing, let's say, 60 for 2, it's still a good starting point, and of course you get stronger from there. So Benetti EX, definitely a great EX from this set. Cool card for sure. I need to buy this card as well. There's quite a few cards I need to buy from this set actually. Okay, next up we got the disgusting Dustox EX. It's almost a shame they gave an EX on a Pokemon like this. It's a waste. They should have even, I mean, it's crazy. They didn't do Beautifly, but they did Dustox. Fucked up. Anyway, since it's an EX, I guess I have to cover it. But I don't like this sort of ugly bug Pokemon. So 140 HP, very, very low for an EX, so that's already bad. It also has a double weakness. So stat-wise, this Pokemon is quite shit, as you guys can see. 1 retreat, it's not bad, but it's not really that impressive. Maybe you should have had like 3, since it has such low HP and double weakness. I mean, Shiftry, that's what Shiftry had anyway. So you have Safeguard, prevent all effects of attacks including damage done to Dustox EX by your opponent's Pokemon EX. So it does have a good body, as you guys can see. This sort of effect is quite strong. You're going to be immune to other EX Pokemon, and that's always handy. I guess you don't have to worry about those. I would wonder if this Pokemon makes for a good safeguard, sort of a EX counter though, because there's other Pokemon like Dugong we looked at in Fire that had a similar effect, and I think there might be a few other Pokemon with an effect like that. So it begs the question if you want to run Dustox and sort of risk it. Uh, Even though you're going to be immune to EX, this is an EX Pokemon, so you're going to give up 2 prizes. But let's look at the attacks. You've got Silver Wind during your opponent's next turn. If an attack does damage to the defending Pokemon, that attack does 30 more damage. So I guess you can do 40 for 2, and then you do 70 if you use this attack next turn, and Cutting Wind does 70, so I guess you can do maybe 100 if you attach an extra energy. So I guess the attacks are, they're okay, meh, I guess, not so bad, not that great. I wonder if this counts for your opponent as well. It's always tricky with the way they worded stuff in the EX era. Uh, During the next turn, if an attack does damage to the defending Pokemon, yeah, I don't think it would count for you as well. I think you just get the benefit. But oh well. Disgusting Pokemon, not a very great EX anyway. I don't think there's any way to build this Pokemon and make it very effective. The Safeguard ability is good, but that's about it. The other stuff is meh. And if your opponent plays around it, then you just have a 148 HP EX Pokemon with 2 weaknesses. Okay, so I looked at you enough. Let's look at our real card here. So Flygon EX. So this is one of the sets that includes a Flygon EX, the only other one being EX Power Keepers. We had 2 Flygon EXs. Well, actually we have, I think, we might even have like 3 or 4. There's a Delta Species Flygon EX as well. And there might even be 2 actually, I don't remember. But this Pokemon is definitely very strong. Flygon EXs always have effects that either involve decking your opponent out or energy acceleration, as the J Wits would say in his video. A 150 HP, double retreat, but double resistance to the lightning and fighting, so great stats all around, I'd say. And it's got Emerge Charge. Once during your turn, when you play Flygon EX from your hand to evolve, you can search your discard pile for up to 2 energy cards attached on the Flygon. So you can instantly power the first attack up and soften up Dragon Claw, and you can get any energies actually. It doesn't say basic, so you can maybe take advantage of a lot of the broken special energies like Scramble, perhaps other energies. And it's got 2 attacks. Dragon Claw does 100 for 5, kind of standard uh, for 5 energies doing 100. There's a lot of Pokemon that sort of do straight 100, no cost attached, that need 5. This Pokemon needs a Grass and a Lightning to make that work, but it's a Dragon Pokemon, to be expected. And then Reactive Blast, you may discard any number of React energy cards attached to Flygon. If you do, this attack does 40 damage plus 30 more damage for each React energy you discarded. So this is actually a good little combo you can do with the React energies. I guess you can attach a Lightning, then when you evolve into this Pokemon, grab 2 React energies from your discard pile, and you can essentially do 100 damage for 3 and then discard 2, so that's not bad. Or you can just discard 1, then you do 70 for 2. So it can do a little bit of high damage if you have react energies to spare. Not bad, not bad, definitely good. Emerge Charge is probably the best thing on this Pokemon, letting you grab energies, kind of being self-sufficient. The other Flygon cards are probably better, at least the Delta Species one. I know that's part of a competitive deck. This one is also kind of good, but maybe you need a few more resources to make it work. It's great though that you can get even special energies with its ability. Alright, nice card. One of the cards that I actually own from here, one of the EXs that I own. Next up we got Mew EX, another very competitive Pokemon. So when Legend Maker came out, the Mew Trick deck became a thing, and Mew EX, thanks to Versatile, always being a flexible card that can be used with many different decks in Pokemon. It's kind of like the Mew EX you guys would know from the more recent years, I guess, even though Dragons Exalted isn't so recent. Mew EX can use the attack of all Pokemon in play as its own. That's what Versatile does, and you still need to use the necessary energies, of course. And Power Move, you can search your deck for an energy card, attach it to Mew EX, then shuffle your deck afterwards. Then you may switch Mew with one of your bench Pokemon. Okay, so the attack isn't really anything spectacular, but as you guys know, Mew is always about this sort of body, being able to copy other attacks. And it was definitely put to good use with the Manectric EX, essentially being like the OG Seismitoad EX item lock deck, you could say. You used Manectric EX's attack, and then you kept a good lock going, locking trainers, all trainers, not even just the items as we would call them today. You would block out stadiums too. Only supporters could be played, I'm pretty sure. So very nice. Always a risk running a Pokemon like this, of course, since it's an EX with low HP. But actually, if I stop and think about it, 90 HP for an EX for back then, basic Pokemon, it's actually not that bad. Most of them had like 100, and a few maybe went over that, like 110. I think there was only like a Groudon and a Kyogre EX promo that had like 120 HP. Nobody else went bigger than that. That was a basic Pokemon. So 90 HP isn't actually that bad if you consider the Black and White EXs had like 170 and 180, and Mew had 120. You know, having just 10 less than something like Rayquaza EX from that era is actually quite good. So HP wise, stat wise, this Pokemon is solid for the power that Versatile gives you. Very, very good, of course. Mew always a good card with the Versatile. So we have two good EXs, and Flygon, I guess, is a so-so good EX as well. Arcanine, I guess, too. So maybe only Armaldo and Dustox are not so great. Yeah. And then the last EX, Walrein EX. I like this one. I like this one better than the EX Power Keepers Walrein EX. I don't think I have this one. I don't remember. But it has 150 HP, quite large. Double weakness though, fighting and metal, that's not good. And you have Icy Aura. As long as Water in EX is your active Pokemon, put 1 damage counter on each active Pokemon between turns, excluding water Pokemon. So good ass ability. As long as this dude is active, you put 1 damage counter on each active Pokemon. That's not a water Pokemon, so you're not going to hit yourself. If your opponent has a water Pokemon too, you're not going to hit that guy either. But it covers a lot of ground. They sort of remade this effect on a SP Mamoswine in Rise and Rivals, owned by Candice, and it's a good little effect, quite good. It's gonna put the hurt on and add a lot of damage counters before you know it on your opponent. And Water Arrow, choose an opponent's Pokemon, 40 damage, Snipe, okay, seen that before. Salamence does the same shit. And Ice Throw, you do 80 for 4, and if any Pokemon is a fighting Pokemon, this attack is going to do 120. So very nice. So at the very least, you can hit the fighting Pokemon that hit you for weakness. You can hit them back as well. 120 for 4 with no other cost. It's actually very strong. And 80 for 4 is just okay. It's just standard, I guess, for an EX Pokemon. That doesn't really have any major drawbacks or major advantages. The plus on fighting Pokemon is definitely nice. So just a good little Pokemon, another good little EX. Not really super competitive, but not really bad either. Nice. Definitely looks really lovely with the art. Okay. Now, I mustn't forget we have 3 um, gold stars in here, the Regis. You got to get this set if you want to get the gold star Regis here. Really nice. We got Regice here, 90 HP. With Ice Barrier, prevent all effects of an attack, including damage done to Regice by your opponent's Pokemon EX. Oh wow. So see, this is much better than Dustox. So this is the sort of attack and you become immune to EX Pokemon as opposed to having it as an ability. And that's always been, I think, kind of better because with when you have like a safeguard ability like that, people can get around it. But with this, it's harder to get over this since it's the effect of an attack. You do 10 for 1 as well, so it's not like you're doing this and not putting damage on. That's good. And then final Blizzard. If your opponent has only 1 prize card left and Regice is the only Pokemon you have in play, this attack does 30 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So 30 for 3 is unimpressive, and I guess if you're in the most dire of situations, you can do 30 spread to everybody else too. Honestly, if you only have this dude out and your opponent has only 1 prize left, you're probably going to lose. This attack isn't going to save you. But I guess if your opponent has a bunch of hurt dudes and you going to be finishing the game off, then maybe it can be good. Ice Barrier is the good attack on this Pokemon for sure. With an attack like this, I could definitely see this Gold Star being in decks that run water energies. Good, good. Looks really fly, damn it. I need to buy these cards too, but you gotta spend hundreds to get these cards. We don't have the money to do that. Next up, we got Regirock, Gold Star. Looks pretty cool as well. Maybe not as good as Regice. Regice is pretty iconic, the Gold Star art for me. You got Dig Drain. Remove 1 damage counter from Regirock and you do 10 damage. Regice is probably better attack, but I guess this is more universal attack. Universal effect, healing you. And then Final Blast. If your opponent has only 1 prize card left and Regirock is the only Pokemon you have in play, this attack's base damage is 100 instead of 30. Okay, now this is a much stronger attack, second attack than Regice's though. Perhaps if you're in a dire situation, like the text describes here, doing 100 for 3 is probably better than spreading 30 to everyone, because with this you can get a big knockout doing 100. So pretty good as well. And then the last one, Registeel Gold Star here. This one has a Resistance to, Resistance to Grass, Metal Pokemon. You got Barrier Attack. During your opponent's next turn, any damage to Registeel is reduced by 10, and you do 10. Okay, a little bit good. And then Final Laser, you put 3 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. And the same thing, if your opponent has only 1 prize card left and this is the only Pokemon you have out, you put 6 damage counters instead. It's okay, I guess it's spread. You do it whatever you want, but maybe doing 100 for 3 with Regirock is better. So I guess Regirock has its own good trick. Regice has its own good trick, and Registeel, uh, it's probably the weaker one when it comes to the second attack. I'd say always getting the short end of the stick. I'm pretty sure, yeah, in this era, Registeel gets the shortest end of the stick for sure because it's a metal Pokemon. You don't have basic metal energies to attach them on, so that's hard. And it doesn't have that many great attacks too. Yeah, all of the Registeel cards are kind of difficult. Okay, so let's look at a few of the trainer cards too. Like I've said, there's only basically one supporter here, Field Worker. Really iconic. I remember this card. You draw 3 cards, and then your opponent may also draw a card because there wasn't any straight draw 3 with no costs back then, even in the DP era. If you were going to draw 3 cards, you either had to discard something, put back on the deck something, or your opponent drew a card. Basically, that's how it was. And this is another card like that. Uh, Probably if you're going to run a straight supporter like that, running Gabby, the interviewer, uh, TV reporter, yeah, it's better. You can just draw 3 and then discard 1. You control what happens. It's in 3 different theme decks, it seems. Wow. Yeah, Shadow Quake, the one I bought. Legend Maker, the Groundbreaker one. And then Green Cyclone, Crystal Guardians one. Super cool. Yeah, I remember buying this Shadow Quake. It was a counterfeit deck when we used to buy counterfeit cards but didn't know better. Yeah, kind of shit, but I guess we can still use those cards. It's sort of good memories still. I've got some good memories back in those days. Nice, nice. Okay, so the stadiums, we have Curse Stone here. At any time between turns, each player puts 1 damage counter on his or her Pokemon that has a Poke Power. Pretty strong. So Poke Powers were very significant, so a counter stadium like this that hurts them is very strong. Definitely playable. You'll see it in a lot of Jason's decks for sure. Then we got the Full Flame. Put 4 damage counters instead of 2 on each burn Pokemon between turns, and the special condition burn can't be removed by evolving or devolving. So if you play, I guess, decks that focus on burn, then this is your stadium. I can't think of many strategies like that in the EX era, but I'm sure you'll find a few. There's a bunch of good Pokemon that can utilize burn, so not bad. And yeah, I think there's like a MacB that needs this card to make an effect, and that's pretty unique, so that's good. Then we have Giant Stump, another great card here. So this is like our OG Parallel Stadium. Each player can't have more than 3 bench Pokemon. Of course, this hurts you as well, so you gotta be careful. And if you have more Pokemon before this stadium comes out and then you play it, then each player has to discard cards until they have 3. So you can do this, use this card and make a lot of combos. Get rid of your hurt dudes as well, deny your opponent from getting prizes off of them. And it's a very good stadium, you can imagine, always limiting your opponent's bench and your bench. A lot of fancy stuff you can do. And we got Power Tree. This stadium looks really good. Looks really good art-wise. I like it. I don't remember what this does actually. So let's see. Once starting each player's turn, if the player has no special energy cards in the discard pile, that player searches his discard pile for a basic energy card and puts them into the hand. Okay, so that's kind of cool actually. So if you don't run any special energies, which you probably shouldn't because special energies were everything back then. There were so many broken special energies, and there weren't really any major drawbacks for playing them. There was no enhanced hammers or lost removers, whatever, to instantly get rid of the card. To my knowledge, anyway, but I don't think so. Yeah, enhanced hammer, lost remover in Call of Legends was the first instant energy removal card for special energies. I'm pretty sure. So there wasn't really any drawback for running them. But I guess if you don't run them, then you can always get a basic energy every turn from your discard pile with this, and maybe that can be good in some decks. I guess a deck like Blaziken probably doesn't really need to run special energies. So if you're running Delcatty as your draw engine Pokemon, then you can use this and always guarantee Garen energy to discard and then draw cards. So maybe that's not a bad combo if you don't want to run Magneton from EX Dragon. Not bad, not bad. Power Tree. And then we got Strange Cave, and that's about it. But a lot of stadiums. Not really many sets that include so many stadiums, and that's it. So this is a fossil stadium card. Once during each player's turn, that player may put an Ammonite, Kabuto, Aerodactyl, or Dactyl X, Lily, basically all of the fossils, I think, from that era. From his or her bench. Wait. I put on his or her bench from his hand. Treat the new bench Pokemon as a basic Pokemon. Okay. So essentially what you can do is play the fossils without the fossil cards. Kind of helps out these fossil decks to set up. It's always a pain either way, but I guess this card helps. If you're going to run fossil Pokemon, you probably want to max this out. So you can play the fossils basically like basic Pokemon. How they were meant to be, in my opinion, they should have been. Okay, not bad, not bad. Looks cool as well. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different stadiums in this small ass set. It's crazy. And you got the fossils here. You got Claw Fossil, Mysterious Fossil, and Root Fossil. I think this might actually be the first time they're introduced here, or actually no. You get them in Sandstorm. You see the original versions. We looked at them before. It's basically the same effect, just different artwork, kind of the Holland artwork. You play this as if it were a basic Pokemon. It doesn't count. Let's see, counts as a trainer card, but if Claw is not, this counts as a knocked out Pokemon. Yeah. So if you play it down and then they kill it, your opponent will get a prize. Can't be affected by any special conditions. Can't retreat, although you can discard it. And if this is the active Pokemon and it's damaged by an attack, you put 1 damage card on the attacking Pokemon. So I guess it has that sort of a retaliation effect. When it comes to Root Fossil, it's the same thing. The only difference is the body it has, I guess. And you basically just heal 1 damage counter every turn. Alright. And then we got the Mysterious Fossil, the original one, you could say. It doesn't have any effects, but it has 10 extra HP, I guess. And this one, you need to play your OG fossils, Kabuto, Ammonite, and Aerodactyl. Okay, so that's done as well. So let's look at a lot of the holo Pokemon in here. There's a lot of good stuff, artwork, and maybe playability wise as well. There's a couple of cards I really like from here. So the first one, let's go with order. Let's look at the Aerodactyl, looking really fly. Any damage done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon is reduced by 10 for each React Energy attached to Aerodactyl. So another Pokemon working with React Energy here. Since all of the attacks are colorless, you can just use React Energy to power this Pokemon up if you want to. And Power Blow does 10 damage plus 10 more damage for each energy attached to Aerodactyl. So I guess if you have a lot of energies, you can do a lot of damage. Let's see. It's going to be 20 for 1, then 30 for 2, 40 for 3. So, okay, it's not the greatest, but you can start attacking early. And then Speed Stroke, you do 40 for 3 during your opponent's next turn. Prevent all effects, including damage done to Aerodactyl by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX. So another sort of EX counter Pokemon. You can be immune to them once you use this attack. So not bad, I guess, for a fossil Pokemon. Aerodactyl only needs to evolve kind of once, and you have a 70 HP Pokemon, fighting resistance for retreat. It's not super bad, but it's still not the greatest for the trouble you have to go through. Next we got Aggron. This Aggron looks so fly. It's cool because it's a metal Pokemon, uses fighting energies to attack. I like shit like this always. I think it might be like the only one. The other ones are like Team Magma Aggron cards. So 110 HP. Would have been better if it was 120 since it has such a big retreat cost. But it has the grass resistance too. You do Heavy Blow, does 70 damage minus 10 damage for each damage counter on Aggron. But if Aggron has any react energies attached to it, this attack always does 70 damage for 3. So good, not bad. And then Bound Crush. You choose one of your opponent's Pokemon. This attack does 60 damage to that Pokemon. And that's about it. So it's a snipe for 60. and during next turn, Aggron can't use Bound Crush. Okay, that's a worst attack, because the mediocre ass shift tree from, I don't remember, I think it was Emerald, or no, actually from Sandstorm, in fact. It can always do like a 60 damage. Oh no, wait, actually that's not a snipe, it's just straight 60. Okay, so my bad. Disregard what I said. 60 damage snipe for 4 energies. Okay, decent, I guess. Next up, we got the Cradily here. Very, very good. I think this Pokemon might be kind of good. Let's see. So, Devolution Wave, you count the number of React energies attached to Cradily. Choose up to the number of your opponent's evolved Pokemon, and you can devolve them. And shuffle those cards back into the deck, though. So, with 2 React energies on, I guess, to do the attack, you can devolve 2 Pokemon, shuffle them back into the deck. Maybe it's not so bad, who knows. And then linear attack, you choose one of your opponent's Pokemon, 30 damage to that Pokemon. That's weak, especially for a fossil. And then Mud Shot, just straight 50 for 3. Yeah, that's not so good. Devolution Wave is okay, I guess. The other stuff is bad. I think the other Cradily cards are better by a long shot. Even the one in Sandstorm. Alright, so that's not good. We got Delcatty. Reactive Shift. Let me guess. Something with React Energies again. So once during your turn, you may move a React Energy attached to one of your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. Okay. So you can only do this once, but it's move React Energies around. I guess if you want to build a deck focusing around all Pokemon with React Energies, all React Energy Pokemon, then maybe you want to run this. You can do Tail Whap, 40 for 3, and then search your discard pile for an energy and attach it to Delcatty, 20 for 1. Energy Link is probably the best thing on this Pokemon. Yeah, or actually, you can only attach it to Delcatty, so yeah, mediocre ass Pokemon, but what can you do? It's a Delcatty. And then Gengar. This is the Legend Maker Gengar you get from the theme deck as well, the Shadowquake theme deck here. Was probably my first way to get a Gengar card in my life. It was the first Gengar card I had, even though it was counterfeit. But yeah, this card is a little bit decent. Shadow Curse is a good Poke Power, and then Curse Reaction with a React Energy on, you can put 4 damage counters on for 2 energies on Pokemon any way you like. It's not the greatest Gengar card ever released, but I guess it's not so bad for back then. Definitely the Poke Power is the best thing. Holo card as well. Next up we got Golem here. Yeah, this is my favorite Golem card. Is the best Golem card ever printed, and the best looking Golem card art-wise too ever printed, in my opinion. Is definitely in the EX era. There's nobody better, and I just don't think there was ever any Golem card printed better than this one. You got 120 HP, 3 retreat, standard stuff, but you got 3 awesome attacks. With Mend, you can search your discard pile for fighting energy attached to the Golem, remove damage counters from this dude. Then Enraged Linear Attack is a snipe. You choose one of your opponent's Pokemon, and it's going to do 10 damage for each damage counter on Golem. So this is like a Rage Attack for 2 energies. That's a snipe on a stage 2. So that can be pretty good. With 120 HP, if your opponent doesn't kill this guy in one hit, like let's say they do 50 damage on him, then you can do like a 50 damage snipe for 2 energies. Very fly. And then Rock Tumble, 70 for 4. Not affected by resistance, but remember you can use Mend to slowly power up this Pokemon too. It's just great. It's just great. There isn't a Golem card that ever came close to this card, because most Golem cards are just so bad. But yeah, this card is very nostalgic for me. My first Pokemon TCG overview. When I thought of that series, I thought of Golem, and definitely learning about all the Golem cards as I was making that video. This card is definitely the coolest. If you pull this as a rare holo, it looks absolutely beautiful too. Great attacks, good HP, just great card. And I think, yeah, it doesn't do anything with react energies, but it's still pretty good. And I guess you get it as a card from the Groundbreaker deck here. Man, I should have bought this theme deck if I think about it. The counterfeit one, whatever. This one is better than the Gengar one for sure, I'd say. Just for this card. It's a better card than the Gengar from this set. Super cool. Right, right. Next up, let's see. I've got the Kabutops here from this set. And what do you do? Ancient Shell, as long as you have Ammonite or Omastar in play. Damage done to Kabutops reduced by 20. Okay, yeah, good luck getting those guys together. And its attacks, energy stream, you switch your disc off for basic energy, attach it to Kabutops. Decent, you do 32, so I guess you can start powering up this guy that way. And then extra claws, if any Pokemon is in EX. 80 for 3, not bad. 50 for 3 is pretty mediocre though on everyone else. So another Pokemon that counters EX Pokemon. So a lot of EX hate in this set. A lot of Pokemon that are either immune to EX Pokemon in some way or hit EX Pokemon for more damage in some way. Yeah. And we got Lapras, and I mean, I don't remember what this thing does. I think once during your turn when you put Lapras onto your bench, you search your deck for a supporter card, and oh my god. So this is the original fucking Jirachi X and Tapu Lele. Wow. So I learned something major today, and you guys did too. I don't remember this card having this strong of an ability, but yeah. Basically, when you play this on your bench, you can search your deck for a supporter and put it into your hand. The Tapu Lele effect, guys, and the Jirachi X effect from Plasma Blast. So very strong. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I think there's a few decks that run this card back in, if you check out Jason's articles on his website, on the WordPress site. But I think people just favored Jirachi more back then. Jirachi was better, and there's other methods too, but definitely grabbing a supporter, man, with this effect, it's definitely strong. Very significant support Pokemon from this set. Wow. Alright, I learned something I didn't know, actually. So now I know this is like the original dude that had this effect. Okay, next up we got Machamp. This guy works with react energies too. You can do Derail, discard a special energy if any attached to defending Pokemon while doing 40 for 2. That's good. And since special energies were so popular back then, there were so many of them that were so strong. You're probably always going to discard an energy card when you attack with this Pokemon. Your opponent will probably always have a special energy on their active dude. And then Swift Blow does 60 damage plus 10 more damage for each react energy attached to Machamp. So if you got one react and you're doing 80 for 3, that's already good in a way. And if you got two on, I guess you put one fighting and then two reacts to meet the attack cost. You're doing 100 for 3, no cost. So that can be pretty strong as well. Alright, alright. Yeah, this guy is good with react energies. And then we got a regular Mew, then we got Muck. I don't know if let's cover Mew, I guess, since it's Mew. You got type change. You may choose one of the defending Pokemon. So I guess Mew can change the type that way. And then Lick Blast, if Mew and the defending Pokemon have different number of energies attached to them, it does 20 as opposed to 50. So I guess if you have the same amount of energies, you can do 50 for 2. Okay. Let's look at Shiftry because this is a significant card as well. I did the TCG overview in Shiftry. This might be one of the better Shiftry cards as well. With Evolutionary Fan, once during your turn, when you put Shiftry from your hand to evolve, you can choose one of your evolved Pokemon and return that Pokemon to your hand basically, and all cards attached to it. So it gives you like an ability to scoop up on your dudes. You can't use this on Shiftry, on any kind of Shiftry for that matter, but it's a good little effect, scooping your Pokemon up. And a reactive beating, you do 30, and if you have a react energy on, you always confuse. And then cross cut, the best thing on this Pokemon, is you do 70 damage if any Pokemon is evolved. Always do 70. Now this Pokemon is dark too, so you can use special darks. They were kind of like the strong energies of back then. Darkness Pokemon were strong because of them. You do 10 extra damage. So if you have a bunch of special darks on, you can do 80, 90, etc., etc. Good Pokemon. This, along with the Deoxys Shiftries, are the best Shiftries from that era, non-EX ones at least. And then the Shiftry from Crystal Guardians, I think, yeah, the Shiftry X. That's probably the best general Shiftry card from that era. Okay, let's look at Wailord too, because I know you have a lot of HP. So 120 HP for stage 1. As good as it was going to get. There weren't no 200 Wailords, 200 HP Wailords besides the EX one. Yeah, and reactive lift. So if this dude has a react energy on, the retreat cost for each of your water Pokemon is 0. Wow, excluding Pokemon EX. So not only do you help yourself, but all the water Pokemon too. And then you got Hypno Splash, 40 on Sleep, Rely on Friends, 40 plus 10 more damage for each of your bench stage 1 evolved Pokemon. So if you have like 3 stage 1s down, you can do 70 for 4. Or if you have more, it becomes better. Okay, that's interesting. Hard to use, but I guess it does boost itself up if you have a lot of stage 1s. Let's see, Girafarig. Yeah, this is another significant card. So there's a lot of competitive cards from this set in this era. Like, for example, this one, this Girafarig. This was your counter, uh, let's see, on opponent's Pokemon's Jirachi, the Deoxys Jirachi. That was a major player when it comes to support. So each player's basic Pokemon, excluding Pokemon X, can't use any Pokepowers. So if you open it with this, your opponent wouldn't be able to use Jirachi. And just blocking Pokepowers in general, basic Pokemon that have Pokepowers, it's a very strong effect. If you weren't going the Pokepower route, then negating the Pokepower was what you wanted to do. And this Pokemon heavily contributed to that. And with Foresight, look at the top 5 cards of each player's deck, you put them back in any order. And then Disorder, if any Pokemon has any special energies, if any Pokemon is not confused. So you probably didn't really use this dude to attack, maybe just Foresight to fuck up your opponent's deck or arrange your deck to get good shit. But you definitely use this to block Deoxys and other Pokemon with Pokepowers. Nice, nice. And then the other cards that we need to talk about actually, Lunatone and Solrock. These guys made a competitive combo as well with Luna Shade, as long as you have Lunatone in play. Each player's colorless Pokemon couldn't use any Pokepowers. So this was a way to negate Pidgeot, another very popular support Pokemon from back then. And you can do Call for Family, search your deck for Lunatone, put it on the bench, and then Hyper Beam, discard energy attached to defending Pokemon. And then let's see Lunatone. I think this might be the attacking dude. As long as you have Solrock in play, each player's fire Pokemon can't use any Pokepowers. So you block those dudes as well. So you couldn't use Macargo as well. And then, excuse me, with Moon Guidance, you search your deck for a trainer card, excluding supported cards, put it into your hand, and then Psyshock, 10, and then Paralysis. So they don't really bring any offensive presence. I think there's a Lunatone and a Solrock that can actually be used as attackers, like a fast attacking deck, with cheap Pokemon that use cheap energy to do solid damage. And then you use this Lunatone and then the Solrock to block your opponent's powers too. And then you have another nice, cheap, fast deck, kind of like Benetti EX. So definitely a good combo, this Lunatone and Solrock here. So we have a few other cards, some of my favorites. You got Gorobis here, and then Huntail. Reactive Booster. Each react energy attached to all of your Huntail and Gorobis provides 2 energy, but has no effect other than providing energy. And then Hydro Pump has synergy, I guess, with the reactive energy. You're going to do 30 damage plus 20 more for each water energy attached to Gorobis, but not used to pay this attack's energy cost. You can more than 40 damage this way. Wait. So... Wow, okay, so what's the point of having the react energies on, I guess? Yeah. You don't get the plus. You need water energies to do more damage. Kind of a wasted opportunity. But this is a beautiful card. I love my Gorobises and Huntails. This is definitely a pretty card. It's just iconic. When I see this, I know it's from Legend Maker. I know this is like a Legend Maker card for sure. And then Huntail, same thing. A reactive generator. If Huntail has no react energies attached to it, you may search your deck for a react energy and put it on this dude. And then Bite Off. This is a if any Pokemon is a Pokemon EX, you do 70 for 3. Another EX hater. But also a Legend Maker card. When I just think of Legend Maker, I think of Gorbis and Huntail. I know these Pokemon are in here. It's just Legend Maker is kind of that is a set that includes a lot of these maybe forgotten Pokemon in a way, but that are kind of cool from the EX era. You got Huntail, Gorbis. You've got Pokemon like Girafarig, I guess, the fossils. Includes a Delcat. You got Absol too. I mean, Absol, okay, he's not that forgotten. And you got this Magmar here. And what do you do? Um, yeah, you don't do anything special. As long as Magmar is an evolved Pokemon, all energy, fire instead of the usual type. Whatever. But just a lot of cool shit, man. It's just one of these sets that I know it's Legend Maker when I see certain cards. I know just thinking about this set, certain cards that come to mind. Anyways, let's see if there's anything else. I think there might be a few more Pokemon. Let me just check the rest of the hollows. Let's check Muck. Stench. Yeah, this Pokemon is significant. It's a good thing I didn't forget this guy. Uh, as long as Muck is your active Pokemon, each player's Pokemon can't use any Pokepowers. So this is like the OG Garbodor. You bring this dude active and your opponent can't really do shit. And then you got Poison Ring. If any Pokemon is poisoned, if any Pokemon can retreat during your opponent's next turn as well. And then Sludge Toss, 50. So the attacks are kind of meh. They're not bad, they're not good. But when you can block your opponent's powers as well, then his mediocre ass damage can add up. And your opponent will have trouble, doing shit if they can't use powers. So Jason has another deck featuring this Pokemon too. Yeah. And then let's look at Victory Bell 2. With this wacky art, you got Nectar Pod. Once during your turn, you may switch one of the opponent's bench stage 2 Pokemon, one of the defending Pokemon. Okay, so it's like an escape board, an escape rope, but it has a lot of limitations. And then Sleep Poison, Sleep and Poison, and you do 10 for 2. And then Sharp Leaf. It can do 70 for 3, I guess, if you get heads. Okay, this guy's not so good. And then we got my Absol here. You got Shining Horn, as long as Absol is the only Pokemon you have in play. Your opponent's basic Pokemon can attack. Okay, that's kind of cool. And then Extra Call is search your deck for a Pokemon EX and then put it into your hand. Okay, that's interesting. So usually Pokemon and effects in that era would be able to search Pokemon, but they would say exclude an EX Pokemon. This is like the opposite. You search your deck specifically for an EX Pokemon. And then Feint Attack, 20, and is not affected by shit. Weakness, resistance, effects, whatever. And this is a snipe. Alright. And I think maybe I should wrap this. Let's look at Omastar 2. Just because I looked at Kabutops, it's only fair. Yeah, so Kabutops is a rare holo, and this guy's just a rare. Always favoritism against Kabutops, man. I mentioned this in my team up set review as well. It's like they always make Kabutops better than Omastar in some form or another. Okay, so Ancient Fang, as long as you have Kabutops, or Kabutops 6 in play, Omastar's attacks do 20 more damage. Okay, so this is the more offensive dude. Kabutops blocks damage, this guy adds damage. But the attacks are unimpressive. Hydro Splash 50 for 3 is ass. And then Drag Off, I guess you can pull before you do the attack, but your opponent gets to choose anyway, so not good. But the art is once again iconic. Like when I think of Legend Maker, when I look at this sort of artwork, I know we're talking about Legend Maker shit here. Wow. Yeah, a lot of good shit. We got an Electrode. I don't think this guy does anything good. Yeah, he's one of the bad Electrode cards. You got this good ass Graveler too from the set that has Exoskeleton. Good stuff. A bunch of cool shit, man. A bunch of cool shit. I don't think there's anything else that I forgot. Look at this Clamperl, this clay art. Such an iconic artwork. Once again, another card that I think of Legend Maker. I think of this card. I look at this card. I think of Legend Maker. It's just a very nostalgic, memorable set. Many of these cards that are in here, I just know them in my heart, I should say. Alright, so I think I talked a lot of bullshit, confused you guys a lot with what the fuck I'm saying, but I think we should wrap this set review up. I think I covered most of the important cards. Even though it's such a small set, many significant competitive cards here from the Sorok and Lunatone, from Giraffaric, a bunch of good ass stadiums, some very significant EX Pokemon in Mew, Benetti EX, and you got the Gold Stars, of course, as always. I know Regice is actually pretty good for the first attack, always blocking EX Pokemon on a basic. Flygon, pretty cool as well. The React Energy stuff, it didn't really do that much competitive wise, but it's cool shit nonetheless. You got this clay seed out here and this Almanite. I gotta talk about this. So there's this Almanite couple here right there, like a female and a male one, and then this dude is like lost his chick or whatever, or his chick doesn't love him, whatever. It's like one-sided love, dude, Almanite, and a crying like this. But it's pretty cool, pretty cool. You know, these iconic artworks, iconic cards, in my eyes. Yeah, Legend Maker, definitely one hell of a set when it comes to nostalgia for me. You got these Tentacles right here. You got Nuzleaf. Okay, so I'm gonna be here all day, so we gotta finish this video right now. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys subscribe, leave a like, and share this with your friends. My channel is an excellent hub for all things Pokemon TCG related, both retro and contemporary. Hopefully I have another one of these set reviews up by next month. I don't really mean to make them every month, like one review every month, but it just happens that way, and sometimes it takes longer. I gotta cover some of the newer Japanese sets that are gonna come out, the Full Metal set or whatever it's called. I gotta cover some other shit too. We gotta look at some of the team up decks as well. So a lot of content I gotta put up, guys. So if you guys like these sort of old school reviews, bear with me. I'm never gonna quit making them. We covered almost everything anyway. There should only be a few sets after Legend Maker. I think it's Holland Phantoms, then Crystal Guardians, Dragon Frontier's Power Keepers, and that's about it. But I know what I'm gonna do after this sort of EX series of sets.